Another day and another TV on the channel. Hey guys, Thunder E here, and today we're checking out a really cool QD mini LED TV from TCL. This is the brand new TCL QM8K. It is one of the top of the line TVs, and its pricing is very, very good. So let's take a look at what we have in the box. We did an unboxing of the TV, which you can fully check out. One thing I'll say though, even though this is a 75-inch TV, the packaging is actually not that heavy. The TV is fairly light for something this big. And although it may feel light, definitely use a friend to go ahead and set this up so you don't damage the TV. So the TV comes with a center stand, which allows you to place it on your credenza or TV stand quite easily. You can use a smaller TV stand if you want to, just because it's center placed. You do have the power plugs on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side is where you have your HDMI ports. Does come with HDMI ports 2.1, supports 144 hertz for one of the ports. One also supports 120, and you have 60 hertz ports as well. So I like the fact that there are two ports that have a higher ratio, but I wish all the ports at least did 120 minimum. But that 144 is pretty cool. Now the TV design is as you would expect with a lot of TVs, but because of the lighter frame, you can see that it is using a lot of plastic around. It's not squeaky or anything. I do like the fact that at least it does feel like it's metal or some full plastic. In terms of audio, you do have Bang & Olufsen audio, and you have the tweeters and subwoofers at the back of the TV, which should help give us better audio on this TV overall. And some of those improvements we'll see later on in this video. Now, this is a QD mini LED TV, so it's a thicker frame, but that doesn't add as much weight as you think. So again, it is really light to move around, especially if you're trying to like redecorate your living room or just put it somewhere else in the house. This is a TV you can move around quite easily, especially for the 65-inch version. Now, the image quality of the TV is something that we care about a lot, because that's why you buy a TV. You're watching content on there, right? With full support for things like HDR10, HDR10 Plus, Dolby Vision IQ with HDR Ultra on there. So this supports all those formats there, and while you're watching content on this TV, it looks really good. You're getting all this really high brightness on the TV. The color volume is also really good as well. There's some situations where you can see it basically lean off when you're either the edges, but not as much and really not that noticeable. Someone like me, yes, I'll probably notice it, but generally I think most people will not here on the TV. When you're looking at the blacks are really good. They're very rich. They're not OLED level, but very good for what this TV has because of the brightness that it hits, which is also solid. Now, when it comes to viewing and reflections, that's one of the biggest things that I have been talking about this whole year. The TV does have some really good anti-reflection, but not great. So which means you're still going to see either yourself, if you're staying in a room that's well lit and you're sitting in front of the TV, you might see that as well. And some of the shots here, especially the one with the nutcracker, as you're watching it on screen, you can see my window on the side here. So if you're watching it in daytime with just windows in your living room, it's going to affect the TV. Even though the brightness is high, I think that's one of the biggest crux on the TV. But viewing overall is still pretty solid. So we have support for 144 hertz, which means this TV has a lot of support for gaming. Now there is a game bar which you can pull up, which allows you to go ahead and organize your gaming session the best way you want to in terms of your blacks. If you want a crosshair on screen, if you want to optimize different things, zoom in, zoom out, all that stuff is in there. But it also has the ability to put up an FPS counter as well. Now I found the FPS counter to be slightly inaccurate, so it's not something that's fully trustworthy I could use to gauge the FPS of a game, but I can say that it is nice to have just because it gives you a rough idea of what you're doing FPS wise on your system. Now plugging in either your Xbox or your PlayStation and playing the games on there, they look absolutely vibrant and rich. So you're playing games like Forza Horizon 5, you see how rich it is and how clean it looks. Whether you're playing Doom the Dark Ages, doesn't matter what game you're playing, whether it's on the Xbox or the PlayStation, you get that full fidelity from it. And the game bar does add and help into that as well, which is nice to see. I say gaming experience is solid here, and the audio experience also is improved. But I want you to take a listen before I talk more about the audio itself. So audio is improved, but it's not at the highest level. So one of my biggest disappointments to the TV is that as you crank up the volume, it's not as loud. It doesn't get loud to a very high point, and then you start losing a lot of fidelity when you get that high as well. So that's something that needs to be balanced out. But I think in the mid areas, in terms of volumes, you're getting some really rich volumes from the speakers. I do wish that the drivers had a little bit more oomph to them, but again, these are built-in TV speakers and they're to hold you. Usually the case till you get a sound bar or at least a sound system within your home. That being said, the audio quality is still good. Now, this is of course a Google TV system and it's pretty smooth. I love the fact that TCL has its own TCL corner, which you find with a lot of manufacturers, Google TV, and they've populated with their own shows and different things that you can find on there. Scrolling through and accessing things is pretty simple and straightforward. I did notice some slowdowns in certain segments, but honestly, to be fair, it's not as bad as some other brands, but I would say that at least it was smooth enough. They do have an option on the remote to go to a quick menu option where you can quickly access things like your brightness, your view mode, whether you're watching in Filmmaker or Vivid. And by the way, every content that we shot on this TV was seen through Filmmaker mode. And we did that with every other TV on the channel this year, just to kind of match the settings that we're looking for in terms of the visual fidelity here. So you can do that quite easily with a quick access on the remote control. Speaking of the remote, it's got a premium look, but it's still very plasticky as well. You got quick shortcuts to different things, like of course the TCL TV segment, as well as YouTube. It's a nice remote. Simple, works pretty well. I do like the fact that it's not black. It does match the color of the TV. We tend to see a lot of just black remotes, which has been standard since I was like 5, you know. So that is just nice to see as a whole. Now, summing everything up and bringing it down to where this TV sits with all the TVs I've seen this year, we got to pay attention to its price point. 75-inch is currently priced at $2,299 for this TV. A 65 is $1,599. It's an absolute steal at that price point. This is a TV that, with what you're getting, how it performs, and even how it stacks up pretty well with other TVs, and I think this is a solid TV overall. You're getting your bang for your buck with this TV. I have to stress that quite clearly. This is the best bang for your buck TV in the QD mini LED space that I think a lot of people will like, especially if you're going for a larger TV size, where they also have the 85-inch for $2,999, and even the 98-inch is $5,000. So you get a good price point here and a TV that functions very well. Like I mentioned, there are some slowdowns in certain sections, but not as bad as you would think, as well as the speakers could use some oomph. Plus, you do have the need for better anti-reflection on the TV itself. But overall, this is a solid buy, and if anyone's looking to pick one up, definitely use our link down below. I recommend this TV because TCL really does this quite well. You think about how they've kind of come into the game and they've cemented their spot as a budget-friendly option with great TV fidelity. Don't let the price fool you to think that, yes, it's a cheaper TV, it doesn't have the stats to match. This is where TCL really brings in that magic here, and I fully recommend it. So thank you guys. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and always enjoy your entertainment.